I ended up on a beach trip and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this 10K thing a day and just see how I feel. Of course, I was at the beach and I was grounding on the sand. So of course I'm going to feel amazing. But on that trip, I realized how needed it was for me to move my body like that. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Honeycast. Today, I'm going to be talking about a day in the life, or actually maybe a week in the life of Coach Chris. And I don't always love talking about myself, but the reason why I am is because I get a lot of questions about what I do. And first, I want to say this. I have been in the health industry since I was 21 years old. I'm 56. So I have been working at this for a very long time. I have dropped in and out of all the fads that you can even imagine, food-wise, exercise-wise. And what I have gleaned from all of that is hopefully a lot of balance now, trial and error for sure. But I want to talk to you about my midlife season right now and what that looks like. It's very different than when I was home with all my young kids and pregnancy and nursing and perimenopause, all these different seasons. We go through about 7 different seasons as a woman, and all of these need to look, and they will look a little different. And instead of looking at it like, oh my gosh, now what next? I like to look at it as, okay, this is my 7th life, right? This is my 7th opportunity to do something different. And my body needs something different. So lest you think I put all these pieces to the puzzle in place at one time and have been rocking and rolling ever since, that is not true. It has taken me a long time. And I'm going to tell you the key. The key is to don't quit. And baby steps, or 1% increase. 1% increase, you guys, has changed my life. When I do one little thing and get that going, and then add another little thing and get that going, and I don't quit, I end up with a plethora of habits that I've been able to create for myself and be sustainable. And it is sustainable. It's not because I bit off everything at one time and just overhauled my life. It was understanding the importance of these habits. The reason why I do everything that I do is to support my body for my menopausal season so I can feel the best that I can feel. I can be as healthy as I can be to show up, to do the things I love to do, which is coach and encourage women, to raise my family and be with my family and my friends and my church life and anybody else God brings into my life. I'm here on a mission. And so that is my why of why I want to be strong. I want to finish well. I want to finish strong. I want to be an elderly woman, able-bodied, to do anything really that I would like to do within reason, of course. And that is why all these things that I'm going to be telling you that I'm doing are important, and how I've been able to incorporate them. And in seasons, sometimes some of these things go out the window, and that's okay. But when I kind of come back to a better season, they fall right back into place. And that is the good thing about making these a habit and not looking at it like, oh, this is a 30-day challenge, or this is a diet, or this is just, for the month of January or whatever. So I'm going to talk about a day, and then I'll kind of talk about my week. And I'll tell you a little bit also why I'm doing what I'm doing. So for me, my morning time sets the stage for the rest of my day. My morning time is very protected. It always has been. When I had 9 kids at home and homeschooling, my morning time was prioritized and protected. I have learned that I cannot have a good day if I do not have quiet time in the morning, and I am working on my intentions. I'm working on my prayer time. I'm working on processing. I'm working on giving my body and my mind what it needs to get ready for the day. It is paramount. Every morning, first thing in the morning, spend an hour. And maybe when I was younger, maybe it was 30, 45 minutes, although I would get up as early as needed. And that was just a priority to me because I could have a much better day. What my day looks like now is quite different because I still have 2 young children at home, 14 and 12, but everybody's very self-sufficient. And of course, I can make my own schedule because I've got my own business and I decide when I'm homeschooling and when I'm doing this and when I'm doing that. I've never really been in this season before, and it's lovely. I love it. I never thought I would get here, but there's also some challenges to it. So in the morning, I get up and I do some journaling. I have a full focus planner, but I first spend time on doing my mindset work and really my prayer time, Bible reading, getting my heart and my mind set for the day, deciding. I'm telling my brain, I'm telling myself what we're doing today. I'm focusing on the wins. I'm focusing on the things I'm going to create. I'm focusing on serving. I get in a service mindset. I get out of a get mindset or a scarcity. And I intentionally do some practices with myself. And I do a lot of these practices with my clients. And I get in a space, most of the time, I get into a space of a growth mindset. After I do that, I will spend some time with my planner and I'm planning out. Block timing, you guys, is so helpful. If you know what you need to do for the week already or for the day, and you go ahead and you block it out on your schedule and you have it down, it is so much easier on the brain. So I block schedule my day. I know, okay, today I'm doing podcast and then I'm meeting a friend for lunch and then I've got some content to create. It's all blocked out. I like to do that for the week. Sometimes if I don't get it done for the week, I'll do it for the day. So I'm planning. That way I'm looking at my planner going, okay, I don't have to keep all this in my brain. This is something that's going to serve me. Same thing with my meals. I'm not the type anymore that plans out my meals meal by meal. I don't have to just because now I'm very practiced at this. But in that morning time and when I'm planning, I plan my food for the day. I know what I have in my fridge because I get ready for myself on Saturday or Sunday. And I plan, okay, I'm having protein pancakes for breakfast. That's what I had for breakfast with strawberries. I already threw together a bunch of leftovers and made it into a soup. And I know that's what I'm going to have for lunch. And then I have, a kind of go-to snack things that I usually have. And then I've already got my dinner planned tonight. So I'm not thinking about, oh gosh, I have to figure this out. It's already done for me. Anything you can do ahead of time, any decision that you can make ahead of time, get in the habit of doing it and your brain will thank you. It will take out so much of confusion and overwhelm. And if you're in midlife or menopause and you've got brain fog, that's a very real thing. I talk to women all the time that can't even plan their breakfast. They're so brain fog. I get that. I was there. I was there for a while. Thank God I've moved past that because of hormone replacement therapy and because I'm a little bit further into menopause. Your brain actually does change and kind of settle down. And the things that I do are really helpful for my brain. I'm trying to support my brain the best I can. So that is a good place for me to start, is really getting intentional. Now, as far as self-care, I'm doing something self-care each day. I love to do a meditation. I've got a meditation app called Breathe, and I love several things on there. I also will do yoga. I will just do deep breathing and my walks. My walks are so self-care oriented. They're so amazing. Those are every single day. I'm doing something for myself every single day. Why? Because my body needs it. My brain needs it. I'm a better me when I do that. It takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes when I have a lot of anxiety or there's something going on, I do those things to shift out of that fight or flight, high cortisol into, okay, rest and digest. We're going to be okay. Getting to a place of calm where I can respond instead of react, which is very important to me. So the self-care portion is mostly there. I also take vacations. I also get away by myself. I started doing this even when my children were at home. I would find myself saying, well, I just can't do it. And I just can't afford it. And I need to be here for everybody. And I got to a point where I was just so done and so burnt out, especially when I hit perimenopause, that I was having meltdowns. I was not in a good place at all. And I don't know why. I guess I thought my husband should set things up for me to take care of me. I don't even know if I was thinking that, but it wasn't until I decided, oh, wait a second, I can do this. And I would call friends and say, hey, do you have a cabin? Do you have a place? Do you have an Airbnb that I can use? I was asking and I was setting those things up for myself. I took responsibility for making sure that I had that space. It was important for me to get away and have that time away where I could breathe and reset. And I would come back much happier, smiling. And my husband was like, wow, why don't we set that up for you every quarter, like at least a quarter you go away. And then at that point in time, I could do that. And I started to do that. And those kind of things for me were life-giving, because I know all of us can give and give and give and give with 9 kids and grandkids and homeschooling and friends and husband and all the other things, business, all the things, it can just get so draining. And if you do not pour back into your own vessel, then you're just going to be leaking out everywhere, which is really what happened to me. I started just leaking out everywhere. But you know what? That was my journey. And that's why I'm very much setting boundaries and prioritizing these things, because I don't want to go back there. That was a very miserable time. So self-care is very important. The other thing that I do is I do something fun. Do you do anything fun, you guys? Doing something fun is so fun. And I can get so serious. I can get so just intense and serious and focused. Those are great. I love those qualities, but they can really get me down, or they can just get me so stressed. Having fun. What do you love to do to have fun? I love to play pickleball. So I am playing pickleball, which is super fun. I love going on hikes with my children and my friends, and I love connecting with my girlfriends. That's fun to me. I love getting on the river, kayaking. That's fun to me. I have a list of things. Make a list of things. And if you aren't doing any of them, try one of them. It needs to be fun. We need to have that fun. Oxytocin. We get that good hormone of oxytocin when we have fun. It reduces cortisol levels. So that fun factor is really important. So for me, I play pickleball twice a week. And of course, I use that also as my exercise. So that's my hit. I play pretty hard. I play pretty long. It's my hit, and I don't have to do any other high intensity exercise or sprint training unless I want to. It's because I'm getting that pickleball in. The other thing I do is I weight train usually twice a week. I do a shorter workout, which will usually be about 30 minutes, and then I do a longer workout about 45 minutes. These vary in types of workouts. Sometimes I like to do Shireen's workout on YouTube. Sometimes I like to do Lift with C, sometimes Carolyn Gervin, sometimes I do my own. And the key though is for me to lift heavy and build muscle. And I really focus on lower body more than anything. We need, as women, we need to focus on our glutes, on our hamstrings, on our larger muscle groups. I used to focus on half upper body and half lower body. And now I've learned in my postmenopausal years, the lower body is really going to be more bang for my buck for many reasons. So I do about 2 or 3 upper body exercises, and then, well, depending on the day, and then I'm really focusing on that lower body. The weight workout is non-negotiable. That just has to happen. The other thing, now these are just fun things that I do. So I have a whole body vibration plate. Why do I have that? I have it because I've gotten injured a couple times in pickleball, or I had a knee surgery, and that whole body vibration machine has been wonderful for that, because I can just get on that. I'm building muscle. I'm building muscle endurance. I am helping my lymphatic system. I'm increasing human growth hormone. Doing a 15-minute workout on that is like equivalent to doing a 30-minute workout just on the ground. And that whole body vibration plate for me is more of a recovery day workout. I'm not using weights on there, although I can. I am doing 4 or 5 days a week on that whole body vibration plate. So that's pretty much my exercise. The other thing I do is I walk twice a day. This has just become a lifesaver for me. There has been a lot of stress in our household over the last year. We have some hard things going on with particularly one of our children. And it's kind of a constant thing that can be very stressful. And the walking for me, it allows me to get outside, to move my body, to look in nature, to deep breathe, to either prayer walk, or Marco Poloing, my friends or my group, or I'm listening to a podcast. Sometimes I just am in quiet. One walk, I use my weighted vest so that I can increase my bone density. And these walks are just wonderful. And lately, now I am walking after my meals. I used to not do that. I don't love the feeling of being full and going for a walk, but I've gotten used to it. Why? Because it helps regulate blood sugar and insulin, which is in menopause. You guys, every single thing that we can do to help that is going to help us get to our goal weight and also be healthy and regulate that blood sugar well. So for me, even if I can only do a 15-minute walk, I don't let that stop me. I normally like to walk about 40 minutes. And if it's raining, then I have an under desk treadmill. So these are things that I have invested in myself over the years. It's an inexpensive under desk treadmill. And when it's raining and in the winter, I just get on that thing 2 or 3 times a day. And that way I know that I'm getting my movement in, and I feel incredible when I'm getting my steps in. Prior to getting steps, I never really thought that much about it. I wasn't into it. I ended up on a beach trip and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this 10K thing a day and just see how I feel. course, I was at the beach and I was grounding on the sand. So of course I'm going to feel amazing. But on that trip, I realized how needed it was for me to move my body like that. And especially since I work from home, I do have a stand-up desk. That's another thing I do. I try not to sit too much, but I can end up sitting for a couple hours if I'm coaching on Zoom calls or I'm teaching or I'm creating content. So for me, those walks, I look forward to them. And sometimes I'll bring my husband along. Sometimes we get connected in the afternoon on that afternoon walk. And of course, it just depends on the weather. It depends on, when it gets cold, I am the biggest wimp. I will not walk outside. I am so wimpy. That's when I'm on my treadmill. That's when I'm on my whole body vibration plate. So those are the things that I do for exercise. I also like to do Pilates and yoga. And honestly, I just do those when I feel like it. If I feel like moving my body a little bit, I might do that. And then on a daily basis, I work my hips and glutes. It's kind of a little PT for me because I've got some low back issues and some things that pickleball doesn't really help with. And so I'm trying to strengthen these muscles, the gluteus maximus and medius. And so I just use bands to do that. So for me, that's just more of I'm just going to take a little break and go over here and move my body. So those are the things that I'm doing for my exercise. I also will focus on some bone density work, which would be jump roping, jumping in my workouts, plyometrics. And I'll do that at the end of a workout. Sometimes I'll do it at the end of a walk. I'll come back and just jump rope for 2 to 3 minutes. That is because I am building bone density. The main thing about that is that you're pounding against the ground, basically. And you don't even have to jump. You can actually stomp. You could just do some stomping and still get that done. Those are things that I am doing for my exercise. Now, as far as stress reduction, we talked about that. That's more of my self-care. My food, of course, I'm doing Trim Healthy. And lastly, with my food, I have found what works for my body. And it did change. Okay, so this is going to look different for each person. But for me personally, I'm doing about 2 meals a day. And I love my meals. And the way that I do my meals is that I'm adding fiber and I'm adding protein and a little bit of fat to every E or carbohydrate. I never eat naked carbs or rarely eat naked carbs. And I'm making sure that I'm getting the fiber and the protein and the good carbohydrates, which my body loves, especially if I'm eating those together. I am also getting up to 100 grams of protein a day. And I get that because I'm eating animal protein or some type of protein at every meal. And then I have the essential amino acids every day. And I have a kefir smoothie every day that has optimized protein powder. Those are just staples for me. The kefir is important for my gut microbiome. That's another thing that goes wackoid in menopause. And you start getting all these symptoms of indigestion and bloating and, all kinds of things. It's because our microbiome has changed. And so we really want to work on that gut microbiome with fermented foods. That's another thing that I've incorporated. I've started with one thing and then maybe added another. So this sounds like, wow, you're doing a lot, Coach Chris. Well, this has taken me lots of years to get here. And I've done one thing at a time. So the kefir is a superfood. It's so easy to make, you guys. It is super duper easy to make. And for me, every day, having a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup and mixing it with some type of protein source and fiber has just been so easy. And I can do that for a snack. I can do that with a meal. I can do it for breakfast. I'm not a big just a smoothie for breakfast person. I feel like I need to chew. My body does better when I'm chewing some food. So I may have a smoothie with something, but I just don't like the way I feel if I'm just having a smoothie. I'm actually just starving in like an hour. So I do utilize smoothies to get the protein and to get the antioxidants of whatever I'm putting in there and the superfoods. I'll throw all kinds of superfoods in there. But I normally have it either with food or maybe as a snack with, a little bit of something. So that kefir is a way that I'm working on my gut. I also buy fermented vegetables I get mine from Costco, but you can get them really a lot of different places. And I try to have a couple of fermented foods per day. I started with 1 and then I went up to 2 and now I'm working on 3. Why it is so important for our gut microbiome. And it really does help with blood sugar regulation, believe it or not. And it does help with weight loss. So we're feeding our good gut bugs, and our good gut bugs are responsible for our metabolism. They're responsible for weight loss. They're responsible for our brain health. So we really want to make sure we're doing that. So for me, I'm kind of working on my third fermented, food of the day. I love Bubby's pickles. That's another one that I'll do. And I don't love kombucha for some reason. It's just not my favorite, but my kids like it. I prefer miso. I like to add miso to my soups and sauces. Those are ways I do that. So that's how I'm taking care of my gut and my food. So I'm getting the protein. I'm getting good fats. I'm not doing a lot of fats, and I don't do a lot of common dairy. I do fermented dairy. And I do light fat. So I'll have a fourth or half of an avocado. I'll have like a spray of olive oil or avocado oil. I'll have a little bit of butter, walnuts, cashews, almonds, nuts and seeds, seed butter is a way I get my fats in. So I call myself a light S lady. I just do maybe a tablespoon or less of fat with my meals. I don't do a lot of heavy, cheesy, all that kind of stuff. It just, first of all, I don't feel good when I do that. I feel inflamed. I feel really bloated, and it doesn't help the scale. Those foods are very dense. I do keep my meat pretty lean and light. I eat lots of fish because I love it. I do eat red meat. So these are just some things that have helped me be healthy, stay where I am at my goal weight, and support my hormones. Lastly, I do take hormone replacement therapy. It has been a journey. It has taken me years to get optimized, and I'm still not optimized. I'm one of these type women that have trouble with when I take estrogen, I have breakthrough bleeding. And so we've been working on that. Estrogen is very protective, and I want my estrogen. I want my estrogen over 100. I want my breast and my brain and my heart to be protected. I want to feel good. I want to keep my hair. I want to keep my muscle. That's what estrogen does. And so I'm working with a practitioner. We're slowly getting there. And I'm on progesterone, which helps with sleep and overall mood. And it helps when you're on estrogen, you need to be on progesterone. And I love my tea. I love my testosterone. That really helps me build muscle, keep muscle, and my libido. Love it, love it, love it. Feel really motivated and good. That testosterone is like, get stuff done. And my thyroid, I've been on thyroid meds since I was 35. So I've had a lot of years of working on, Hashimoto's and getting these things. And the main thing, I just kept going to people that could help get me where I needed to be, which is called Optimize. And we just kept working on it. I just stayed in it. I didn't give up and be like, oh, that didn't work. I felt terrible when I took that. No, my thyroid needed help. We figured it out. I had to do several different things, you guys. I ended up on Cytomel and Synthroid. I wanted to be on Armour. My body didn't respond to that, but my thyroid was tanked. My metabolism was tanked. My energy levels were tanked. And I thought I was going to lose my mind when my thyroid was not optimized. So these are things that I have to keep on top of. Yeah, I go every 3 to 4 months to get blood work done to make sure we're where we need to be. And like I said, I'm still working on the estrogen piece. I might even be working with a new practitioner to see if we can get that up. So my mindset is, of course, this is what we do to take care of ourselves. And it does take time, and it does get a little bit more in midlife, all the things, you can take this list and be like, OMG, that is so much. But if you think about it, you're probably doing a lot of this already. Most of you that are listening to this. And if you're not, let this be encouraging. Let this be a guide for you in, okay, here are some things that are going to be really good for my body. And so let me start with a couple of these. Where do we want to start? Maybe one or two things, pick one or two things, and let's do the 1% increase. Let's do one thing. If I were going to start with anything, I would start with what you're putting in your mouth, honestly. If you're not doing any of this, I would start with what you're putting in your mouth, because if we're not putting healthy anti-inflammatory foods and adequate protein and carbs and fats into our body, then we are really creating a situation for increased inflammation, increased risk of diabetes, increased risk of heart disease, increased risk of weight gain, and just a host of issues that we don't want. So why don't we do what we can and start with our food? Maybe just start with your food and everyday movement. So hopefully this isn't overwhelming to you, but you can take this and go, yeah, okay, she was able to do this. It took her a long time. Maybe I can do this too.